Well, Northern Illinois coach Thomas Hammock says this will be the loudest atmosphere they've ever faced, even louder than when they played at Notre Dame last year. Well, he's telling his team to embrace it. We'll break down what that means for Saturday in Starkville.
You are Locked On Mississippi State, your daily podcast on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. My name is Jaron Spor. I'm a national college football writer at Athlon Sports. That's Landon McBride. We've got a football packed show for you today. We got to talk about some of the numbers that Kelley Jones is putting out because Pro Football Focus put out an interesting stat earlier this week. Where does he rank? We'll break that down. And, of course, it's Thursday, so we will give our upset of the week, which means that team will actually win. So, good for you.
Not just win.
Win handedly. But first, we got to get into Thomas Hammock's press conference. He did his a little later in the week, so we weren't able to do it on Wednesday's episode. But he said a lot of the stuff that you kind of expect. But I thought it was interesting when he talked about the Cowbells because Cowbells is obviously a big subject anytime a team comes to Starkville for the first time. We heard Kenny Dillingham talk about it. And he's at least admitting, like, we cannot simulate what we're about to experience. But some of the thing they did is they kind of put bells or cowbells into the music, and then they made sure it was blasting right behind the offense when they were on the field. And so they were just trying to work through different types of venues and things like that. He did call it the loudest crowd atmosphere that they've played in. He didn't specify it's this year, so I'm going to say, hey, it counts last year too, and we're going to go Notre Dame. It's louder than Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's probably safe to say that it's louder than Notre Dame. But I like that he actually says, hey, we're putting this in the music and putting it behind the offense instead of doing what Arizona State did and releasing a video of one person with the cowbell.
Yeah. And I know they probably played it over the speakers too, but it was just a funny video.
It was a very funny video. But yeah, I like that he actually talked about that. And my favorite quote from that is like, the best thing we can do is play as well as we can play and try to quiet the crowd as much as possible. I mean, that's really what you're trying to do here anytime you go on the road. I think that's a tall task for his team, but I mean, he's doing all the things he can do to prepare them for this situation because it's going to be rocking. So.
Yeah, for sure. And he is spot on. If you don't want the crowd to be a factor, you don't want the Cowbells to be a factor, you got to play well and you got to get up in the game. Because if you can get up early and kind of get the crowd out of it, you can have the makings of an upset. Mm-hmm. But keeping the crowd in it, that makes it a lot tougher and that makes it even louder and so on and so forth, obviously. But he also talked about he played at Auburn and he talked about that. He said you don't get too many opportunities to play in these types of venues. I remember when I was a player, we played at Auburn, or he wasn't on Auburn, so he played at Auburn. He said it was unbelievably loud. What a tremendous environment that you get a chance to experience. We're certainly looking forward to that opportunity. And it just seems like they're overall embracing it, which I think that's a really important thing when you go in and try to pull off an upset is instead of being afraid to even talk about it, just embrace that this is what it's going to be like.
Yeah, it's almost like the phrase like embrace the suck. Like, it's going to suck when you first go in there. It's going to be loud. You're against a team that on paper is better than you. So that first quarter is going to be awful. But if you do what you think you can do, what he's coaching his team to do, then you have a chance for it not to be as terrible from their perspective. Yeah. So, I mean, he's saying all the right things. It sounds like they're doing the right things. Now, if it actually pans out, we'll see. But,
Yeah. And they pulled off the upset last year against Notre Dame. We talked about that. Now, this team is completely different. They lost, I think, the most production of anyone in college football. So it's a very different team. They struggled against Holy Cross. They barely beat Maryland or barely lost to Maryland on the road. It was like 20-9, I think it was the final score. So they don't have a lot, and they've only played 2 games this year. They had a bye week before playing this one, so there's not a lot to go off of for them this year. They're still trying to figure out what kind of team they can be, and I think he's a very good coach. So I think he can devise a plan to kind of pull off a stunner here. If you're not prepared, you got to come into it like Alcorn State last week, which they're a worse opponent than Northern Illinois, but they came in and they attacked early, got up 28-0, and then after that it was basically game over. And so that's what you're gonna that's the mindset you're gonna have coming in.
Yeah, that's exactly what Mississippi State has to do, and it's his job to figure out how to stop it. I'm glad they ask about having the 3 former Northern Illinois players on Mississippi State's roster, and I liked his answer to that. He's like, as far as for me catching up with them, those guys are getting ready for the game. I want them to be focused on the game. So that's great. I mean, I understand that from, having coaches at different times, the urge to reach out and be like, hey, what's up? How's it going? Catch up with them. But I mean, he's just letting them be them. I'm sure if they reached out, he'd be more than happy to talk, but that doesn't really seem to be what he's about. So I appreciate the way he talks in this interview. He's another week. We have another good, opposing coach that I really like in this interview.
Yeah, and those guys are Ray Thomas, Nevaeh Sanders, and Cam Thompson, for those that don't know who played with him or for him last year. Because they were one of the better MAC teams last year, and they were like number 4 in total defense last year. So they put together a really good squad and then lose almost all of that. But that's the reality of it. When you're a group of 5 team, you're going to lose your guys. But we'll get into kind of the breaking them down in tomorrow's episode. But their defensive line is still going to be very good, I think. But he also talked about Shapen. He said he thinks Shapen's a really good quarterback. He said you watch their tape from last year and then watch the tape from this year. He said the quarterback makes the biggest difference in the offense. He's experienced. He knows where to go with the ball. He gets them in and out of checks. He misses a throw. He's going to come back and make the next throw. He's really efficient in the RPO game. He said a lot of different stuff about Shapen, but yeah, I mean, we noticed it obviously last year when Shapen went down, it was a different offense. And so far this year, the offense has looked really good with him out there.
Yeah, outside of just a couple throws, we've talked about it. I mean, he had the one that was really bad in the opener and the one that was really bad last week. Yeah. And outside of that, it's kind of just been your normal misses that every quarterback is going to make. He's played really well, and you can see it. I mean, this offense was not very good last year.
Right.
And I mean, up and down that also has to do with the offensive line, but offensive line's a little better. Shapen understands the offense and seems, 95% of the time seems to be very much in control of the offense and has some explosive playmakers.
Yeah, and you feel better about the quarterback situation this year compared to last year. Van Buren, I think, had a potential, and he played well when he had to come in for Shapen, but he was a lower level recruit, true freshman. He still needed some time to grow. Whereas I think that room as a whole, anyone you throw out there could do really well. And obviously you want Shapen's experience. But yeah, you need to get this one, get to that 4-0 in non-conference play and see what happens from there. And, then conference play starts. You need 2 wins to get bowl eligible, which would be an amazing jump from last year.
Yes, it would.
But yeah, all starts with getting the 4th win this week.
Yeah, that's where it starts, and it should be one you can get if you go out there and just handle business. Don't get caught surprised, flat-footed, whatever analogy you want to use.
Yeah, for sure. All right, coming up next, just how good is Kelley Jones playing right now? They say numbers never lie. We'll talk about those numbers. That's coming next. Well, it's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. For Mississippi State, I'm going with Seth Davis. He delivered in a big way. Obviously, he came off the season-ending injury. Let's see, it would have been his freshman year, missed all of last season. Still not fully healthy, but he had like 2 carries, 31 yards, had the big touchdown run in the Alcorn State game. And he just, great story. Started crying when he got the game ball afterwards. Just a lot of stuff he's been going through. And, he's still working through it, but, he was great. And if you've been watching week after week with the running game, we thought maybe he could be someone that could be that third running back. It sounds like he's not fully there health-wise, but I think he's a name to keep watching in the future. Maybe not necessarily this year, but maybe next year, and we'll see what ends up happening. But just like Seth Davis delivered for Mississippi State, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. And the NFL season is here. FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I know a lot of people love using FanDuel because it fits however they like to bet, player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. Makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, so this was put out by Cam Meller, who works for, let's see, I think it's the Pro Football Focused. I think that's who he works for. It doesn't. I don't see it actually listed, but I believe he's with them. Otherwise, he might be with PFSN. I can't remember.
Yeah,
it's one of the two.
It's PFSN.
Okay, I knew it was one of the two. And he put out the lowest catch rate allowed for FBS cornerbacks, minimum 10 targets. There's some really good corners on here. You got a guy from Oklahoma, Texas A&M, guy from Tennessee, even a guy from Rice made the list. But Kelley Jones comes in at number 1 at 16.7%.
That's an incredible number.
Yeah.
Like, not even taking into account who he's lined up against, what the quarterback, anything like that. You're allowing a catch on less than 5% of targets.
Yeah.
I mean, not 5%, 1 out of every, 5 out of every 100. You're allowing less than that. That's insane. Like, that is a crazy number. And then you factor in the game against Arizona State, where he went up against Jordan Tyson, who is probably going to be the first wide receiver drafted in May against a very
deservedly so too. He's
very
amazing.
good offense, and he shut him down. I mean, was it 86 yards or somewhere around there? I mean, that's shutting a guy like that down.
Yeah. No, he's had a great year, and he's a guy, this offseason, we kept hearing rumblings that he was doing really well. He was the guy that I said I thought could be a breakout player for them this year, and he's
pretty smart.
Yeah, he's proven that. He just has great size to play corner, and he's showing that off. You mentioned the game against Tyson. Tyson's a very big receiver as well. So it's just getting to see him play against, some of the best, and Tyson's one of he's got top 5 wide receiver in college football right now, probably top 3 maybe. And for Kelley to go out there after, not a great year last year for not just him, but for the team as a whole and the defense as a whole, for him to come out, and play the way he's played. And he's 6'4", which is just crazy for a corner.
Yeah, that's really good size. And we did think we did think he could be like kind of the bright spot in the secondary, but as a whole, we were a little concerned going into the season what the secondary could look like, especially once we kind of heard those rumors that maybe they're looking at getting one more person out of the portal and it's going to be a corner or a safety, something like that. It was, what is this secondary going to look like? Well, when you have a guy who's taken away half the field, it makes your secondary look really good, really fast.
Yeah, we thought they had to go into the portal with how bad the secondary was, and we were wondering why they didn't get more aggressive, especially getting after a cornerback. But when you have a guy playing like this, it makes that decision look really smart. And so, no, he's playing unbelievable football, and so is the whole secondary. Really, I mean, they shut down Sam Leavitt in that offensive passing attack for the second straight year. They haven't really been threatened in any of the other games in the passing attack. They really won't be threatened this week. Tennessee will threaten them, so it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. Yeah, that's going to be a big one because they even played really well against Georgia. Tennessee did in that passing attack. And so that will be an interesting one. That'll be really the first test outside of the Arizona State one, just to see how they do. But the secondary as a whole, led by Kelley Jones, Isaac Smith, they're playing some really good football.
Yeah, when part of your secondary is Isaac Smith and another part is playing like this, you're in a good spot to go forward. Diago Brumfeld's looked great. I mean, that interception, he kind of got beat a little bit, but he was right place, right time, nose for the ball. But outside of that, he's played really well too. Might not be this well, but I mean, he hasn't been just getting torched over there by any means. So he's playing well and still waiting on a couple guys to come back. So, I mean, there's a lot of upside in the secondary. And I mean, we were concerned, but we're it's looking weird that we were concerned at this point.
Yeah, and Jet Jefferson's one that you mentioned was playing good, and he hasn't been playing. I
remember injured. Jet, and for some reason, all I could think was famous Jet Jackson. I was like, that is not right.
Yeah, no, but he was playing good football before he obviously suffered his injury, so you should get him back at some point. But yeah, I mean, they're playing really good football, and like you said, that's not something we expected from them. We thought the defense could take a jump, a good size jump, going from 123 or whatever they were last year to 80, 85. Like, that's a really good
jump. Big jump.
Not people aren't going to be happy with that, but we thought they could do that. They could take an even bigger jump. I mean, they could with the way the secondary is playing. And then, the defensive line, Will Whitson was obviously a massive, massive, massive loss. And that's the one that I don't know if they can fully overcome. I mean, Mississippi State, I'm looking at right now, they're 27th in total defense right now. It's early in the year, but that's crazy to think about.
I mean, that's it's a 100-spot jump. Seems pretty good. Cut off the stats now. That's where we're ending it. 100-spot jump. Defense turned around.
Clearly turned around.
But no, Will Whitson is a big loss. Is going to be a big loss. I think we're gonna start to really feel it once we get in the heart of SEC play. Because he was looking so good and just really turning a corner with how he was playing. So that's one that's going to hurt. And when you can rush the passer, that makes your secondary look even better.
Yeah.
So
it's going to that helps a lot.
See that dynamic, how it progresses throughout the season. And, some of these guys may start to step up on the front seven, how they, as they adjust, find their role, maybe just get a little more playing time, feel more comfortable out there. So we'll see how it all comes together. But so far, it's looking really good.
Yeah, for sure. All right, coming up next, we give our upset of the week. Don't go anywhere.
Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS top safety picks awards than anyone else out as of August 2025. And from footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details, and Mazda brings that same intention to how we craft every model. And you can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day. Part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, Landon, who's on upset alert?
All right, this one's a little crazy. I think Tulane's going to beat Ole Miss.
I like that one.
I'm going big here. I've been kind of going a little safe, but this one feels big. Tulane's playing really well. They're kind of a little scrap. I don't know. There's something going on with that team. It just seems
John Summerall's a great coach.
They're going to surprise some people. Retzloff is looking good. He's looking comfortable now that he's had a few games there. So Ole Miss did not look great last week. Quarterback situation, still a question mark. So I think Tulane's going to take this one.
And what's the line on that one?
I'm not real sure, honestly.
I had it. Actually, I was talking to someone about this the other day, so I actually had it.
And I just lost it, so that's why I said I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember what the line was. I'd have to look that one up. But the one that I'm going with, I ultimately went with Nebraska over Michigan. And by the way, it's Mississippi 13.5 in that one.
Yeah.
I'm going Nebraska over Michigan. It's at Nebraska. Michigan's favored by 2.5 points. I just think if Nebraska's taking the step that they think they have taken, they got to win this one, especially at home. I actually was talking to someone before the season started. One of my friends, we always give our who we think is going to make the playoff, and we send that projection to each other. And Nebraska was one that I said was a sleeper, and I said that not because I thought they were this playoff caliber team in terms of talent. Their schedule's easy. They play Michigan, who's ranked. USC just got ranked, and then Penn State's their only other ranked game. I picked them to go 11-1, and then you got the Indiana dilemma again this year. And so, but to do that, they got to beat Michigan, and they got to beat them at home. And I think they're going to get it done. Dylan Raiola is playing really good football right now. Patrick Mahomes Jr. out there, he's playing really good. Dana Holgerson's coaching really good. Changed that offense around.
College football is better when Holgerson is cooking.
Yeah, right. And Matt Rule if you look at his history, his third year is when they take the jump.
Yep.
Temple jumped into a double-digit win team. Baylor jumped to a double-digit win team in his third year. This would be the third year for Nebraska, or for him at Nebraska. And so I like that one. There was a couple other I was looking at. I don't hate the Ole Miss one. I actually like that one a little bit. Arizona State over Baylor was one I was looking at too, because Baylor's actually favored in that game at home. But no, ultimately I think I just think Nebraska will pull that one off and really set up a lot of momentum for them.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me, and this would be a good year for them to make a run. I mean, Ohio State and Penn State are obviously dominant, but I mean the rest of the Big Ten's kind of
Oregon too. I thought Oregon in the dominant, but
I always forget. It still doesn't make sense to me that Oregon's in the Big Ten, so I'm probably going to forget they're in it every time I mention.
But to your point, it's those three way up here, and then the rest of the Big Ten.
Yep. And the other game I almost considered was the Indiana-Illinois game. I mean,
yeah, that was one I looked at.
But that one, I don't know. Seeing Illinois in the top 10 is still weird. I'm still not sure how that's going to go. I'm not sure if they're really a top 10 team yet, so it'll be interesting to see how that'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, and Indiana's actually favored in that one, which was a little surprising. Because Illinois has been playing such good football this year. I they were one of my upsets earlier in the year. I thought Duke was going to get them, and they ended up beating Duke pretty good. I mean, it was a close game until all the turnovers started for Duke towards the end. But, yeah, Indiana's actually favored in that one. So it'll be interesting to see if they can kind of keep that momentum going from what they had last year for the rest of the season. They got a much tougher schedule this year, though, than they did last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was looking at some other ones. There wasn't really anything else that stood out. I guess you could say Clemson because they've played so bad this year that maybe they're on upset alert against Syracuse. But I just think at some point the real Clemson's going to show up. Unless
this is the real Clemson.
It could be. I
mean, and you could always go real bold and say Sam Houston State's going to upset Texas. The wheels just completely fall off the Arch Manning train.
It's just, and the Arch Manning thing is an interesting one, but the Clemson, it is just so weird because they were so good last year, or they ended the year really well, and obviously made the playoff, and they really played Texas close in that game.
Yeah, they did.
You return everyone. Two of those guys are going to be first-round picks on the defensive line. They have combined for 2 tackles for loss and 1 sack this year, which is insane to think about.
Peter Woods could very well be the first player taken.
Yeah.
Preseason board.
Parker too.
Yeah, Woods was in the top 3 in almost everyone's preseason projections. Yep. So to see them struggle like this, especially on the defensive side, is just been crazy to watch. It kind of makes you wonder what's going on there.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, and part of it I think is they're not fully into the transfer portal. They were more into it this year than they have been in years past.
But it's hard to not be.
Right, and I will say this, to an extent, I understood this year made sense for them not to go heavy into it because they returned 81% of their production.
Right.
It made a lot of sense, but years past, not so much. But all right, well, it's another big moment on Locked On College Football Fans. Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation alongside 2-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts at College Football Preview. Only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. I'm Jaron. Check out my work over at Athlon Sports. That's Landon. Follow us, Locked On Mississippi State. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We post daily videos Monday through Friday We also post a pre and post game show, a little snippet on Saturdays when obviously Mississippi State has a game. So check that out as well. And until next time, Hail State.
Hail State.